What is this? This is July the 15th, 16th?
Yes, July was the 15th.
Okay. This is Oklahoma City, July the 16th. Maud and I are going to translate from tape 7612, which is Phillip, Jim, and Garland Blaine talking in Pawnee. Let's see if that came out. We are recording from 27.0 on tape 7612.1, June the 27th, 1976.
Why? He was talking about Haiga. He said Garland told him, he said he's part white, ain't he? And Phillip said, I don't know. Just, he thought he was, but he didn't have no. His folks was Mrs. Morgan and Tom Rice. And that's all he knew.
Well, that they were talking then about Tom Morgan. No, Tom Morgan. Before they were talking about up here, and they were talking about Tom Morgan, and that was just finishing Tom Morgan, that he was half white.
Tell me that.
Well, I don't know. I think that was
well, you better turn it off. We just are talking.
Oh! Cancel the last statement about High Eagle, because Garland and Phillip were talking about Tom Morgan being half white, and then Phillip starts talking about a hand game or something.
He started talking about High Eagle, and he said they had a hand game out to the South Roundhouse, and he said he looked up and he saw High Eagle coming.
All right.
And he told the people, he said, High Eagle's coming. That's as far as he got.
Okay.
He said that they told him to come in, and High Eagle came in. They told that whoever was there to get a chair and let High Eagle sit down. He said he caught the old lady's hand, but he just ignored me.
Is that what it said? What old lady was he talking about, Jim?
Mrs. Morgan, I guess. I don't know. He didn't say it.
Okay.
All he said was he thought he'd come down before the hand game so he could announce it. They used to go around and, he used to sort of town crier, I guess you could call him that. That's what he said. He thought he might do that and announce the hand games.
High Eagle said this.
That's what High Eagle said.
Now, here we go.
He said that he talked to the old lady Blaine, Phillip's grandma. He said, my grandma, he talked to her and he told her, he said, I remember when we used to be in Nebraska, we were young.
This is, he and Phillip's grandmother were young.
Yeah, they were young. He said, and we used to play around. And we always had an elder to come and supervise us. That's what he said. It seems like it's a long speech, but
that's all it comes out to say. Okay.
Watching them.
Is it on? High Eagle is speaking to Mrs. Good Eagle. Her name is
Phillip's mother? Phillip's grandmother?
Phillip's grandmother. We used to call her Mrs. Good Eagle.
Right.
And he's talking to her, and he said, you know that all my people had passed away at that time. I didn't have anybody. No.
When he was a little boy.
When he was young.
Okay.
That's English, you know, a lot of it, but what he said was we used to go hunting with different ones. He stayed with just anybody that he could stay with.
He was an orphan.
He was an orphan, and then they'd go hunting. That's all he said.
Go hunting. Okay.
He told Phillip's grandma, High Eagle told Phillip's grandma that you know yourself that I don't have anybody that's close to me. I have some, but they're far. They're not close.
I wonder who they were.
Is it awful?
Oh. Well, you can tell me, I mean, it would help.
it's Mrs. Morgan, it was Mrs. Morgan and, Tom Rice. Them.
They're Kickahaki. He was Kickahaki. Okay.
He says that, he told the old lady, you know that, nobody paid any attention to me. They didn't care for me. They didn't care for me, and I just stayed with, who I could.
Oh dear.
But now
Sad.
that, he says that now that he's coming into property, I guess he's good.
Okay. What's this about property? I don't. High Eagle's property?
He became very rich in his when he was an old man. He came to realize oil and stuff, a lot of money.
I see.
And he says that when they had the hearing, they shouldn't have allowed old lady Fanny Jim to testify. She's the one that let them people in. She testified for
That
them.
they were heirs?
Uh-huh.
What?
And
I wonder who they were.
And people was telling me, Tom Rice,
I see. Okay.
old lady Morgan and them. And she testified, this old lady Fanny Jim. And he said that was her beer money. They paid her. She
Is
was
that-
drinking,
Oh,
at
was
that
she?
time. She
I
was
see.
old too. That's how come she
I see. Well, that's okay.
died. They told Fanny what to say on the witness stand, and that's what she said on their behalf, And Tom Rice asked old lady Phillip's grandma to testify for him, and she says, no, I don't want to because I don't want to lie.
Good.
That's what she said.
Well, that's good. Okay.
She knew if this Mrs. Goody, his grandma, had got on the stand, she'd have told back there what he said would have favored Tom Pratt, and it was trying to get the property too.
It's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah. Nobody cared for him. My brother took care of him, Alan Moses.
High Eagle?
High Eagle.
Why didn't they like him? I mean, they didn't care for him.
They just didn't care for him. He was an old man, but he had a lot of money.
Okay.
That's
Poor man. Poor old man.
And he wasn't a very likable old man. I guess he was old and smelled good. And Alan took him in, Alan Moses. You didn't know him, I guess.
I knew another Moses that Garland knew, but I don't know what his name was. He was about the same age as Garland, so it was.
No, my brother died when he was 96.
Are you talking about your brother Alan? No, I didn't know him.
Well, he took him in. Maud was sort of some kind of distant relative of this old man's. So they asked her if she could take him into their home and care for him. So she agreed. Of course, it left it up to Alan because he was a man. So he took care of the old man. He took good care of him. He bathed him and everything. Got him to looking. But that old man would not sleep on a bed. He wanted to sleep on just a
Floor?
pallet.
An old scout, huh?
Yeah, he just slept on the floor, and we've been over there, and he's a nice old man. He couldn't see, he was blind, and Alan treated him just like he would, he was good to that old man. But I guess he died or he got sick or something. They took him.
He must have been pretty old.
He was old. See how old, Philip's grandma was still living when he died. And that's when they wanted her to testify, and she wouldn't do it.
And they were little in Nebraska, so
They were
they're
pretty
very old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got paid to rehearse, what to say. They told her what to say.
Yeah, do it at Duke stop at on Heiger's place.
Yeah.
Now my grandmother Duke stop his sauce. A tipper.
Yeah.
Där var helt sidan he looks up the good Susan. Now my grandma was related to her,
Yeah.
not to Heiger.
He said they lived,
Who? Garland?
Garland and his grandma lived on his place, on High Eagle's place. He said, that's where we lived. And
Where was it?
I don't know, my grandma wasn't related to High Eagle, but the old lady that High Eagle married was her relative, was Garland's relative.
I wonder who that was. Who Heigl was married to. That'd be a long time before then.
Yeah, I seen one, but I don't know who she was. I didn't pay attention. Yeah. And he says, that's how come I knew of them, that's all.
That's how he knew of Heigl, because when he was little, his
lived-
grandmother lived with. They lived, Wichita too, I suppose, the grandpa.
Well, he didn't live with High Eagle. He lived on the place,
Okay.
High Eagle's place.
Okay,
He didn't live with High Eagle.
okay.
He says that his grandma, old Lady Blaine, called High Eagle Grandpa.
Grandpa?
And his wife, he called her Aunt, I guess, I'm not saying. After that, Aunt. And then the kids, I don't know what kids he's talking about, he said they were all her sort of, I don't know what you call it, in Indian they call it Peter childhood. I guess it's sort of aunt and nieces and nephews or something.
It's just a group of people with
Yeah.
that one name, that
Yeah.
one term. Pira, what? Pira, what was that term they called them? Pira, that you called them? Pira,
Peter childhood.
Pira,
Peter childhood.
Chahura.
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes over to these people. They were just living on his place, not in the house. And he goes over and tells Garland's grandma, he called her Jude. That means, that's a big name, in the tribe, like
Woman?
woman, yeah, lady or something. And she said, would it be possible for you to move into my home? And she said, yeah, we can move in there. She said, well, that's good. He said, maybe I could come and stay with you.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
Garland
So that's
says.
another place he stayed.
I guess he did. He says that he used to he'd come over and stay with them and tell stories.
Oh,
And he said, of course you know how I came up. I came up in a pitiful way. I didn't have anybody. Nobody wanted me. I was just an orphan. That's how I came up. That's what he said.
ah,
He's telling it. He's telling it to Garland's folks.
oh, okay.
He said, I used to go to different places and I'd stay there and play around a while. He was small, see, he'd play around at these different homes, I guess, stay with these different people. And then he'd go to somebody else's home and he'd do the same thing, play around. And that's the way he grew up. Didn't have no people.
Isn't that awful? Happened to a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
So he's telling
He's telling this
to Garland and his grandmother.
Yeah, he's telling it to the grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling them how he grew up. And that old lady probably knew it.
Yeah, because he said it before somewhere on the tape that
They grew up
Phillip
together.
said that, he went around and he hunted for meat or something. Remember, Phillip said something like that he was poor and he was an orphan. He didn't say he was an orphan.
Just stayed with people.
Mhm.
Stayed with
Okay.
anybody that would take him in. Now, he knew that Garland was an orphan.
Ah.
And that's what he was telling these old people. He said, this boy here, I know, he's an orphan like I was. And I've got a he was attached to him on account of that. See, he was attached to Garland.
Because he too was an orphan.
He was an orphan. And he said when he stayed with these people, they'd make him work and do little chores, I guess. So,
He takes him down to the...
he takes him to the creek, to the water, and the old man would look around for roots. He said he was looking for medicine.
Oh, okay.
And he had I guess a bag or satchel of some kind. And I guess he'd put the roots in there and he'd sing. He'd sing his songs, some kind of songs he'd sing. And he'd put mud on Garland's mouth and on his nose. Oh, I wonder. He didn't tell why.
He didn't.
And he says that they'd come on back up, and this old man would be singing, and he'd tell him, you know how to dance. He said, boy, I like dancing.
Is that when he laughed?
Yeah.
He laughed.
He said, boy, I sure would start dancing around. That's why. He said,
Well, I wonder why the grandmother got mad.
he didn't say.
Rikki ratti.
Oops. That's the end.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was staying with Garland's people, Garland's grandma. It seems to me, don't put it on the tape, but they don't hear me.
Okay, this is side 2 of 7612, Phillip, Jim, and Garland Blaine.
He said his grandpa would be often mad at him for going down a creek, I guess. I don't know why. He said, well, maybe he'll bless you, he'll give you a blessing for dancing like that.
Ah, oh, that's important.
That's what he said. That's what Garland says. Oh, he just said he felt sorry for him because he was an orphan. And Haiga was an orphan. See, that's why he was attached to the old man. I mean, to Garland.
Okay.
That's it. He said, well,
He went to town.
They went to town, and he liked to drink. Come back half shot.
Did you remember that he drank?
I didn't know that. I knew him, but I never did him. And Garland said he'd have candy in his pocket. They'd be all sticky, and he said he'd give them to me, and he'd say, eat them. They're good or something. He said he was married to a lady named Jane.
Oh, Haiga was.
Haiga was. She said that she was tired or something. She passed away in 1919.
Before he died.
Yeah, he was a bachelor when Alan was keeping him. He didn't have anybody, see? Nobody wanted him at that time. He says that's why she didn't put in her claim.
She was dead.
She died, but she didn't, nobody. I guess they didn't have children.
Yeah.
And he said, so that's how come. He talked like he was related to him. He said that's why he wasn't in our claim, in our land, in our holdings again. And then he's told him about that lady not putting in her claim. She had already died, so.
Well, maybe they thought they had a claim through her as her relatives.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the point he's trying to make?
Yeah, I think so, too. But they didn't really like it.
Okay. Well, let's see. White
Could
elk,
be.
not white hawk.
Could be a white hawk.
Did Phillip say something about him?
All he said was he came in, or he came by or something.
Okay.
I'm not talking about it.
I really didn't walk through there. They went there to sit there with that history they had. Oh man, white elk.
Elk.
White elk. He said
What's
white
it
elk.
up to they had? What that is?
Oh,
Old
there's
Pratt.
Tom
Yeah.
Pratt.
They didn't walk through one there about that. Do we sit down? We sit down without wheat ice. It's a little bit closer than that, Tom Rice, you know. Early morning. Early morning. But good all, you should have wanted. Early walk was such a good sits out. Early good sits out. I
Yeah.
thought they said,
No.
but good all.
Oh, it's still on. Okay, go ahead.
He says that old man White Elk and old Tom Pratt were closer relation to him. See, it's White Eagle. What's he? High Eagle talking.
Yes.
He said they're closer to me, my relative, than Tom Rice or Lady Morgan. If any of them would come and tell me, I'd testify for it.
Ah.
See,
White
it's
elk.
a
White elk said that,
White Elk, yeah,
that he would testify.
testify for.
But they didn't ask him.
But see, Tom Pratt didn't ask.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I got it. Now it could
Yeah,
be something
right.
else. No.
Because they didn't want to argue over land.
Yeah, yeah. But Tom Pratt did. Is it off? I don't want to be talking.
Okay. Well, you can if you want to. Tom Pratt.
They're
Wouldn't go to
reversed.
White elk.
Yeah.
They walked off and said, I think I feel that I was on my road, but they did not got it got up and put their song. The big stuff that pushes out of the show for that high, you know.
Yeah.
We went off out of the Scotty sit there, they sit there walk off, and we went off after this with that straight.
What goes on here is Phillip is talking about land in Merrimack. He says it discusses the Merrimack situation again, restricted Indian land,
Well, I
singing
guess-
in Pawnee at Tinker. This is Garland saying that when he worked at Tinker, he would sing Pawnee songs while he was working, and the machinery was going and nobody could hear him. That says that. Then Phillip asks what my Pawnee name is, and Garland tells him. And then Phillip talks in Pawnee, and then he tells about gardens. See, the conversation now is away from Heigl, and he's talking about the gardens at the old place and roasting corn, and then Garland tells him about visiting the Wichitas and Bertha Provost, and let's see. Okay, maybe this would have. They're talking about. Garland says, "Did you ever attend the doctor dance?" And then Phillip goes on and they talk about that for a while.
I mean, what is he talking about? Garland and them, didn't the old man, old lady own a place at Merrimack?
Yes,
Is that where
uh-huh.
this boy's living?
Yes, that's where Jimmy's living. He's living on Garland's father's allotment. That's where Jimmy's living.
See, Garland's mother was on this side.
Yeah.
She was on this Skeety or something.
She was. John Box was her father.
Yeah, John Fox. Yeah. Him and Whitey were brothers. And somehow or the other, my mother was not related to John Boggs. She was related to
How would that be if they
Well,
were
they
brothers?
were half brothers.
They were half brothers. Oh.
See?
No, I didn't know that.
And,
Can I say that? So I won't
No,
forget.
they
I'll
were-
say it. You don't have to
Okay.
say it.
Okay.
Oh goodness, it's on anyway. It's already on there.
Oh, well, it's
Yeah.
on. Anyhow, that's what my mother used to, and he was raised more or less over there by close to my mother and them.
Mhm.
This Marty. But that was these Davis kids. Garland Blaine.
Well, it's complicated, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's a lot of people.
Well, Garland's talking about the dance, and it's mostly in English here, so you probably,
It's a doctor dance?
yeah, he's talking about, Phillip doesn't remember John Ruock's, Phillip never danced there, Buffalo danced there, Phillip never danced the bear dance, and they talk in Pawnee, the bear kuduks. Well, there's a lot, if you want to listen to that, we can turn it on. This is the
Yeah, let's see what they're saying.
Okay.
No.
This next tape is almost all Pawnee.
You know, Mara Epler,
Yeah,
I
know
could
her.
sit down with her and she could tell me my people back there, but I never taped it. You know what I mean? My dad and Emmett Pearson and all them, how they connected and all that. I never taped. I'm gonna tape it. I'm gonna go down there and tape it before she forgets all that. And she remembers different things that,
I talked to her once, you know, and I taped it, and she said it was fine. She was telling me about relatives of mine through Garland's relatives that I had never heard him talk about, because she knew she was older, and she said her Emmett and her father, Lone Chief, were brothers, Emmett
Yeah.
Pearson, and I don't know whether she mentioned, she was trying to bring it down so we could see the relations, so I could see the relationship between them and Garland. And there was a relationship. And then your grandmother married John Box. And so she was talking about all of those people. I've got that, if you want to read it.
My dad, that was his uncles.
Okay.
Her father
All
and
right.
Emmett Pearson. And there's two of them. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
See, I forget.
I got those other two men.
Yeah.
One was called Short Arm or
Yeah.
something, and the other was called Black. I got that.
Black mustache,
Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Blackbeard. Okay. Well, she explained all that to me, so I would know how.
That's what.
I've got that, Maud. Want me to
I'm gonna
give
have
it
to
to
tape
you?
it. Yeah. I didn't. I'm
Okay.
gonna bring my tape recorder. I had 30-minute tapes. I usually get them 30-minute tapes when I'm gonna tape something, so it
Mhm.
won't be so long, you know. And then I could cut it off. And
Yeah.
He said when the machine, he'd be singing Indian songs when his machine was going, and the machine would stop and his voice would come out with the Indian song. Yeah.
What did people say to him? Did anybody say? Oh, it doesn't say.
Yeah.
What's it like? Did you say something, Chief? No, I didn't say anything. I sure thought you said something.
He was singing, see?
No, I didn't say anything.
He said, I just
Again, I
denied.
sure could have sworn you said something.
He said, I was denying that I was singing.
Never said a word.
Yeah. Well, I'd really be singing, boy. I couldn't put the phonics soon.
He said I'd be singing and it looked like it just caught my throat, caught my voice when the machine would stop.
Oh, just carry it away.
On my aunt.
What did he say? I'd like to know what he said about my name.
He said that was his mother's name. He said, that was a pretty name. He thought it was a pretty name. He said, my aunt. What is he going to say about his aunt?
My older sister, Aunt Bessie, with Dukes of Satu Pity Pot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a red star.
Oh,
Bessie.
Bessie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew her.
He
Yeah,
didn't know
Dukes of
her.
Satu
He
Pity
said,
He
Pot.
said, I knew her.
oh, he knew.
Phillip knew her.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. I mean, put some gift petite.
You get them up up there on all that stuff on her there. That's so good.
I guess you got some kind of dressings.
I don't know. I don't know.
It sounds funny. It says,
Star,
let me
I
put
guess. For a woman, feminine way.
Female star.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Maybe
I
Starlet or Starina or
Starina.
Starlene.
Oh, now he's being funny, isn't he?
Good girl, I saw. Good.
And Martha.
Martha.
Thought
Betty.
he was taking
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, maybe it's Starlene.
Come on. Blaine. Odd. What did she look like? Was she, when you knew her, was she real old? Did she have, was she tall or short?
No, she was chunky. She wasn't short.
Chunky.
She was, you know, let's see. who could-
Tall as me? Tall
who
as
could-
you?
Tall as you. She was taller than me, I think. Let's see. Who could look like her? I can't compare her with anybody. Don't see her with any. I mean,
You don't see her looking like anybody.
no. But all I remember is when she was blind.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. And my mother used to speak highly of that boy, Garland. She said we were in Graham Hotel one time when they come in, him and his grandma. The old man had passed on, you know. And he was with her, just holding her, just really taking care of her. She said,
Oh, he loved her a lot.
she said, my mother said, there's no boy his age would do that today, take care of an old person. And she you know, he was sure think a lot of that old lady. That's what my mother said.
Well,
And
he
I
did.
admired that guy. He just really took care of them old people. He was not ashamed of them. He told us a story one time. Oh no, he didn't tell it. He told it. He told that old man. That old man was Harry Pratt was the one told it. He said this old man in Garland was coming down, you know, by the courthouse, and a little while before, that old man had told Garland, when you fall, you must act like a worm, curl up so you won't get hurt. That's what he told Garland. Well, as they were coming down, the old man fell.
Oh.
And Garland told him, Grandpa, did you curl up like a worm?
That sounds like something,
That's
Garland.
funny.
That is,
was-
that little kid.
Yeah, gee, it was funny when they told Harry Pratt told us that the old man told him, you know, that Wichita Blaine was telling him. He said, this kid said in England that you know, like a worm, get curled up. Oh,
Heck,
that was funny.
That was.
He just stayed with them people. He just took care of them, and nobody ever made a remark. The white people never said anything, you know. And he was always talking in Indian. And he just didn't care. He just loved them people so much that he just went.
Yeah, he really, well, that's, you know, they raised him. I mean,
Yeah.
he
yeah.
wasn't very old when he went to live with them, and they were blind then. So he had a lot of responsibility, he said,
Yeah.
when he was 3 years old, or, you know, he had to learn how to help around the house and take his grandfather out, you know, when he needed to go.
He didn't have much childhood.
No.
He grew up fast. You know, they made him grow up.
Yeah, they were,
He was lucky to have them grandparents.
Oh, wasn't he though? Because they taught him so much. And
Yeah.
all he talked
Well,
in
where was
Pawnee.
Viola all that time?
I don't know.
School, maybe.
Maybe
huh?
she was in school. She was older than he was.
Oh, yeah.
But
Didn't he had a brother?
Jimmy,
Yeah.
he was raised by the Peters.
Jim, no, that's I mean, he had an uncle by the name of Jim.
Elmer.
Jim
Elmer.
Blaine. Jim Blaine, too, and
His
Elmer.
father was James,
Yeah.
and he was dead. And Elmer died.
I knew
when-
him way later he died.
Mhm. Did Elmer drink a lot?
Oh, yeah.
That must have been a disappointment to his father and mother.
He married a mentor, Edith. Yeah.
That, it's just, maybe that's why Garland didn't drink. He saw what happened to his uncle.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or didn't drink a lot. He drank. but-
I don't remember ever of Garland being drunk, or he might have taken a drink or two,
Yeah.
but that was it. He just didn't.
Yeah, he drank, but never did I ever see anything excessive drinking. He didn't believe in it. Because his own brother, Jimmy was really sick and drunk a lot.
That
And
was
his uncle, so.
that was a really funny deal. This Jimmy Peters, Blaine or whatever, he was raised by Christian people. That Robert Peterson,
Yeah.
they were church people.
Yeah. He had all the advantages.
That's what I mean. See, and
He
then
went to college up there in Kansas.
Yeah.
Just started drinking. I don't know why. Garland was lucky. His grandparents made him believe that he was a certain person and he should never do
Yeah.
things that were against what they believed.
Yeah.
He didn't. All of his life, as far as I know. I don't know all of his life. I'd like to know more about it sometime.
What?
He had a hard time, though.
Yeah, I don't know. He got married very young.
He told me, I'll turn this off.
He said they call my brother in Wichita's
This
Bertha
is-
Provost is my sister.
But Phillip is saying that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's good.
All right. That's important, I think.
He said, did you ever go dance at the Roan Chief's doctor dance? And Phillip says, yes, I've danced there before. He said, we had that old-time war dance there.
That's what he said.
And I guess he danced that too.
All right.
Stavo pidera siitä jo. No vähän hutsata.
Yeah, out here.
He said the ladies didn't used to dance. Now they all dance.
It's a war dance.
War dance.
Okay.
Hakkapidessä on se tikkatu.
Yeah.
Dude, they're white. White paint on.
What was
He
that?
said they'd make drums. They called them drums hockapitas. And they'd paint them white on one side.
For the old-time doctor dance or what?
Stavo pidera siitä jo.
Huh?
Ask him if he remembers who the old men were, because he's older than you, he might remember the names of some of those traditions.
The kid stuff about Suki. You know any of those old men that dance buffalo dance?
Joo, tykkään.
Yeah, he said there's a lot of them.
Someone out there we want to put out those with it. They get up and dance. Yeah, fix those you doing that.
Skiddies, old-time skiddies. That's all he said.
Okay.
He said he was the youngest one who used to dance, and there was a lot of old-timers who used to dance. He was the youngest.
Phillip was the youngest. I wonder when that was. Back before in the 20s or before?
Before,
How do you say?
Grataraha.
That means doctor dance.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Singers, he used to sit little ways from the singers where the drummers were, I guess.
And who was Matlock was what?
A singer. He
Ah.
was one of the singers who was Matlock. He said they'd take him in and they'd fix him up. See, they used to put that clay on him.
Oh.
Put that white clay on him, when they had
Yes.
that doctor dance,
Mhm.
they fix him up and dress him with that white clay.
That's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
As a little boy, or young man.
He said when he was 18 months old, he'd stand in front of his his grandpa, Wichita Blaine, and dance that doctor dance.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a tail.
He did.
They put a horse tail or something, buffalo
Something.
tail or something. Or he said
See, I didn't know
he'd
that.
have a little tail. And he'd dance standing.
He
Couldn't
could.
imagine 18 months
Just stand.
in one place.
It's
yeah.
probably his little feet going up and down. Well, he must have been adopted much younger by his grandparents than we thought. Or else he was a little older than we thought.
Probably. It was
Right.
18 months. I don't think he could control a kid to dance like that. And put a tail on him, they'd pull it off.
Yeah.
Well, cocky spot. And I got a little bell. See, cocky,
He said his tail didn't have no hair on it.
What kind of a...
I don't know,
Yeah.
just maybe a hide or something
Yeah.
they fixed for him, because he was just a kid.
Yeah.
well, and see, they call that little bell that I used to wear, I don't know that they talk about body,
He'd ring it, he says. He'd ring it every now and then, that
Okay.
little bell.
Oh.
And whenever, let's see, the first dance I danced there was kudos.
Oh,
Bear.
And when my grandpa, I went out there, followed him a little ways, and then I come back,
What, you mean he'd follow John Box?
This other dance, what did he say it
Bear
was?
dance.
Bear dance. He said his grandpas would come around. I guess they'd go, I don't know how they dance that bear dance. But he said when they'd come around, John Box and White Eagle, they'd come around and I guess his grandpa would tell him follow them. And he'd follow them a ways,
Oh.
but he'd go back. He
Little
didn't
bitty
finish
fella.
it. Yeah, he was small.
Yeah.
Then after a while, I got a little brave. I'd go clear on around with them, Those old men, they had little branches of cedar, kind of a white paint on, like, And, well,
He's, let's see.
Want to hear that
He
again?
said that bundle he had still had that little hide in there. I guess it was a robe or something, a little bitty robe. He said that's what he'd wear.
What was the word for bundle? What did he call it?
Jockey, I think is what
Satki?
jockey, jockey.
Something like that?
Yeah, and he had that in there. That's what he'd wear. But little hide. Bear dance, I guess it was some kind of a hide. No.
That was that tail, that little bear tail.
No, that was the buffalo dance.
Oh.
He had the tail on.
Okay.
But this one is
This is a
bear
different dance. Okay.
Yeah, they're jumping around quite
They
a
sure
bit.
are.
Okay, now.
We're almost done. Okay.
He said, I'd just get out there thinking I was doing, but it was his own way to dance.
Oh, he was
said
just-
he thought he was doing the thing.
Like little
that
kids
they-
do today,
yeah.
They get out and they turn around
Yeah.
and they go.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what he's saying. He said, I'd just make the sound of a bear. I guess he made a
What song was that?
You know,
Uh-huh.
whatever they do, ball or something. I don't know.
What'd Phillip say?
Yeah.
Phillip said something then.
He said, that's what he said, bear, that's what he said.
Growl.
You'd make that bear sound, you know.
I
that's
wonder what
he-
that was.
Well, you
The
know,
men knew. I haven't heard a bear. Have you?
well, they growl.
Yeah. What'd he say?
He said them bear dance songs were really pretty, what they made up, you know.
Mhm.
But they don't hear them anymore. They can't hear them. He said he was listening to them Northerners and that them songs were just exactly like them
Oh,
bear dance of the Pawnees.
that's interesting. Wonder what northern people he's talking about.
I guess it's them
Conkins? Liquor?
Liquoros and them Sioux probably.
That's interesting.
Looks.
He said, he handed him the bread. He said, here, it's bread now. It's got that butter on it.
He must have done it for him. Huh?
Yeah, he said, fix me, you know, Phillip said, fix me a bread with butter on it.
Okay, mixed in with the salt. Well, it's just not. Okay, here we go.
You could hear it.
All right, now it's, this is
You're wasting it.
Maud, and this is 7613-1, Phillip, Jim, and Garland talking in Pawnee. This is side 2. Okay. Pause.
He says, Phillip says that people think a lot of him. His stories are kind of true. I mean, the way he's telling it. And he said these outsiders, like other bands, you know, other tribes, they'll see these stories, they'll read them maybe. I guess he knew you was taping them.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He said when they see it, read it, they're going to tell you that's a good deal. See?
Is that what he said?
That's what he's saying right now. That's what he told
And I
Garland.
did. Oh, my goodness. Well, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's what he told Garland. He said, these stories you're telling us.
Oh, that makes me feel good. Because I didn't know what he said.
Right there, you could tell, you're telling these stories and you're telling these people, it's a good thing. It's a good deal that you're telling it in a good way and they'll learn something. It's what he really means, you know. I was going to say, they sure are good stories. It's encouraging to hear these stories, see. Nobody else has told them this.
Oh.
I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he said that to Garland.
He said, that's the way I see it. He said, and you and Scooters, he called you Scooters.
Yeah, school.
You all, see. What do you mean? Just take care of one another. And,
Oh,
you know,
yes. Good.
That's what he says.
I'm so glad to know that.
That's what he's telling Garland, you know. Take care of him, I was going to say.
Oh, dear. Oh.
Vuorovaikutuskuljelut. Et siihen, oliko se saatiko sille sitten kuuluu kikiläksiä?
Ei ne do.
Joo. Ei se tuusaa helikuraa. Ja se kirkku. Joo. Se kirkkuutatiksi vaan. Se kokku, se pattii se katsoa. Se tuusaa se koraa. Joo. Ja sitten siinä on otteluutissa kuuluu. Ja kukaan. Sitten kukaan vaan akkii.
That again, will you? I turned it off rather than turned it on.
I thought you turned it off.
No, see, it was off. You were talking and it was off.
Yeah. He said, it's not that way with me. This lady I'm with, this lady I'm married to, says she don't treat me that way. He's referring to you and how good you are to Garland. And he said, they'll just leave me at home by myself. Just take off and leave me. He said, they leave me, and he said, I have nobody I could go to. You know, they leave him to go and be with them. He said, there's times when I'm home by myself, I get to feeling sorry for myself, I guess, and he gets lonesome, you know.
Yeah.
It
was hard.
It's hard for, when you're blind, I guess, and they just leave you, you know.
That's what he meant.
He said, I didn't never tell anybody this, I'm telling you how they treat me. He said, I always feel bad, sad. He said, but I look to the Lord. He said, since I found him and I know about him, he said, he's looking at me. He's looking at what's going on. He'll take care of me. He said, I believe in that way. And he said, but I haven't brought it all out. I'm still trying to let him, really come out with his religion. I'm still,
Oh, okay.
he said, when you just be quiet, just don't, be loud about things like that. I guess he means that he's got this religion, and he's just be quiet about it for a while, and then after a while people are going to say, well, he's quiet, and he's nice, and all that, that's what he's
saying too.
They'll talk about you after you, everything, good things about you.
That's what he was thinking for himself. He wasn't going to talk about how his family treated him.
Yeah.
He was going to just not talk about it.
He said, I'm learning things. When you just observe things, you learn. That's what he's doing.
He's thinking as he's by himself.
He's learning a lot of things.
What kind of things do you think he was talking about?
Well, it seems to me like he's talking about religion. His mom.
Was this a Christian religion or his older religion?
No, he's Christian religion. See, he's talking about God. He knows now, and that he knows that the Lord's looking at him.
Okay, that's not the old Indian.
That's not the Indian. It's the white man religion,
I wonder.
And I always wish I could do something for somebody, something nice. He said, but I'm handicapped, can't do.
Couldn't see.
We don't have all that what he wants to do. Too late. He wanted to do that,
Yeah.
He should have done that when he had his eye blind.
How long was he blind? I don't know either. What did he say?
I guess Ella used to take all his money from him. That's what I catch when he says.
I heard that word money.
He said, profits or something. He said, maybe I could, if I could do away with it, maybe I could have some money in my pocket.
Sad man, wasn't he?
Yes, he is after he went blind. He said that it's hard for me. It's hard for me at home. He said, but being up here with you and your wife, he said, you're all taking care of me, and it sure makes me feel good. It just makes me look like just open up, I guess,
Oh.
He knows somebody cares for him, is what it amounts to. Over there, they don't care for him.
See, I didn't know this. I didn't know anything about this.
He said, I wish I could be there all the time, have good feelings. He said that his home life wasn't really happy. I guess they didn't hardly talk to him.
They must not have.
They didn't take
Who was he living with? Is that?
Well, Garland says, I'm glad you told me this. I'm glad you feel like you do toward us. He said, words mean a lot.
That was a nice thing to say.
You speak it, He said, that's the way I want to be. Garland's talking. He said, I want people to think good of me. Think good of me, toward, think of me as being a good man. He said, I want to be one of those that does things, thinks of other people as what he really means, you know. He said, when my people loses somebody, when somebody dies, he said, I go down and those that are crying that lost their loved one, he said, I speak to them, I talk to them, I say good words to them. He said, when I talk to them, he said, I give them money. He said, I don't give them much. He said, maybe $15 or $20 to help them. He said, there's times when somebody dies and I don't get down there in time. It takes a while. But I go and see the people that has lost that person. I talk to them and say the Lord's in control of this.
It means after, if he doesn't know about it at the time,
he tells them to look to the Lord. That's the way he plans these things for us. We're not in control, he is. And that's what you do, just look to the Lord. He tells the people that lost their
loved ones.
Yeah. Well, that's what he repeats himself.
He repeated himself.
Yeah, he just said that's the way he wants to be, sort of a person that has feelings for the people that loses. Well, I could understand what he means, but I can't explain it. Anyhow, he's, I say he's got a heart for everybody, for all the tribes, coming for all these people. Then he gives them money
to help
with their whatever. After he grew up, I might say, after he got into this business, then he started
to be able to have something to do.
And then he'd talk, he'd talk to the people. He always had a good word for everyone, seemed like to me. Yeah, he said, when I hear of somebody putting up a dance or something, one of these, he said, I'd go and give them money so it could help them. And Phillip says, to help them out, is what he said. He says, it's a good deal that, the way Garland is, he said, that's the way we all are. We've got that kind of training, I guess, in it. We've got feelings for others, for one another, our tribe.
I like that. Sounds
good. That's the way we do. The ones that's in sorrow, we give them things, do for them, try to help them out, because they're hurting. But he said this day, now, the ones that lose the person gives instead of us giving to them. That has changed, really.
Oh, I see. Instead of the funeral feast where the family gives away, is that what he means? That it should be where the people give something to the family instead? Is that the way it used to be?
Well, they didn't even used to. They'd have the feast. If there was anything that belonged to the person that passed away, they put it in the center where it belonged. But now it's just a show. They try to beat one another. Who's going to have the most things? I think that's right.
Oh,
He said instead of the people giving to the mourners are giving to the people. It's all different. And he said, these stories I'm giving you, I'm telling you, I'm giving them. Might as well say like in good faith, he said. And sometimes somebody might say, is it worth it or is he worthy? That's what he said.
is he worthy for what?
Telling them stories.
What stories is he telling?
These stories that he's telling
Oh,
God.
well this right here is not a story, is it? I mean, they're just talking.
Well,
That's a story.
Advice to them. See,
Okay, all right.
Phillip is giving
Garland.
Garland what he knows of that.
That's a story.
That's a story.
All
to
right,
them.
I had to define what you meant by story because my understanding wasn't complete.
You're different from my
Yeah, story to me is
no story.
a story is a story that you tell little children a story.
Yeah.
But a story can be anything you tell people. It doesn't have to be children. It can be just something that you
Advice.
think about or advice. That is a story. Now that's important. I need to know that. Let's see, where are we? Are you getting tired?
He said, there's younger ones. He's like, Phillip was older and Garland was younger. He said, don't think that I'm just trying to get ahead and tell you something that, But he said, I'm not that way. I don't push myself ahead of people. And he said, I guess he's advising Garland to do that. He's cautious man, I guess, and since he's blind, he cannot do, just go and do what he wants to.
But he's giving Garland some advice.
Yeah.
He must have thought he needed it.
No, that's the way of an old person,
Mhm.
elder person. They want them to know. It's not that he thinks, well, this guy don't know nothing. It's
Just telling me how he feels about this and
yeah.
how it should be done.
Why, how he should do. He says, these stories I'm telling you because I want to. And don't think, Garland, that I'm telling you these things so you could give me something.
Oh.
But I don't want it. It's a
I see.
He could talk long, and it don't mean much. I mean, what I could,
You're
in
summarizing.
English, it's short. But he could talk a long time, make a long speech, and it's just a little short.
Well, that was a good speech maker could do that, couldn't they, in the old days? Talking all day? Yeah, what?
He said, I'm not that way to want something, when I tell something. He said, like Adam Pratt, now he always wants you to give him something. But I'm not that way.
I see.
That's what he said. But,
Did you know that about Adam Pratt?
no,
I didn't know.
No,
I didn't know either.
I don't think Phillip liked
Oh.
Same thing he said in England.
Oh, is it?
And what he said in
He was singing.
English.
Uh-huh.
That's what he said when he said,
You're right, the English is a lot shorter, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. I didn't get that on here, though.
Yeah, you got what he said, and it's the
It's
same.
over here, but it's not,
Well, he is our English school, I didn't want to. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And the other way it stopped was that the God had it in your mind now. And the other way they said, God, what do who the one that go that way, that's good to that. Again, that's the okay.
He said, there's a day that's coming that you're going to realize something good from the Lord. But the way you carry on, good way. He said, a good way, and you'll be blessed by it, is what he's talking about.
That was 1976.
He said, you're going to be blessed the way you're going now, and your people, all your children, I guess, and his relatives, and all, and your wife. He said, there's going to be a time you'll be blessed. He said, when you wake up in the morning, you'll feel good, everything will go fine. I wish it was that way.
That's what I was thinking.
He said, you picked up a good road to follow. He said, that's the road of the Lord. That's the way you're going. That's a good road. Don't follow. Yeah, he says, the Lord's going to be with you, take care of you, the way you're doing now, you know, you're going following that road. And he'll make a way for you to whatever you try to do on that. Care of you, lead you.
Imagine Garland felt good to hear that and to know that Phillip thought that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, it was too long ago for me to remember what they were.
He said, let's see, don't just all of a sudden plunge in and do something, Go easy with what you're trying to do, like, when you talk to people and like that. He said, go easy with it. And you realize. He said, just imagine him follow the Lord, he's leading you.
Okay.
He said, don't get too fast about things. He said, and people will think more of you, when you talk to them. Just, say, he was a good man and all that. But, okay.
Oh, all right.
He said, now you know the Lord, you know his ways and like that. And you got it now and you can make it. How shall I say it?
I didn't know that Phillip was, that religious, because where was he able to, if he never could go anywhere, did they take him to church? Was he allowed to go to worship?
Yeah, he used to it. When he could see, he went to church and stuff like that. Well, he even got involved in that full gospel.
He did. Well, this is his feelings about religion and God and how it affects other people and how Garland should listen to what he's saying. I didn't know that.
Like that. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Even in the gatherings like that, he'd talk about that, And he even said one time, he could pray and heal.
Oh,
Yeah, he got very involved.
very religious.
Yeah.
Something like Sam Young.
He said, you do what you're doing now, you're making the Lord feel good. He sees you, he knows you're doing good, and he feels good about it. He, the Lord, in turn, will do something good for you and make you feel good. That's what he says. And he told Garland.
Nice.
How good.
He says, talking about nature, the wind and stuff like that. He said, it'll come and bring you something good.
Oh,
you know,
uh-huh.
and, turn.
The wind, nature.
Nature is what,
What's
the
the word
Lord,
for
it's the
nature?
Lord really he's talking about, but he's putting that in, you know, so this, the wind coming in like that is,
Bringing.
bring you something good.
You
Do
getting
something.
tired, Mom?
No,
Much tired.
no.
This is not easy to do, is it? To listen and try to change it into English.
Yeah, it's kinda rough, but to be, when I hear it, I might not, you know.
Yeah,
What är jag heter Solidariska Bidor och Kavaktis. Det har det då tagits sådär. Men då kan du då råka ta hit till det sidiskulla, till det sidiskulla sådär. Kudara kan du då råka ta sådär. Det du kan råka störa, du det hela.
Hey, now see, you gotta erase that. You might play it to somebody. and
Nobody will ever hear this, Maud. No way. These
And then,
nobody hears these. You're the only one that hears Garland. You know, I don't play these for people because I don't know what's on it. You know,
it's a good.
If he's talking about somebody and you know, maybe it's not true, or I don't know, and I
No.
protect these because they're private.
The way they're talking, it's.
Well, not this one specifically. I'm talking about, you know, I've played tapes for you, but I don't play them. I played some for Levi because of the young dog dance. You know, Levi came here with Cody and what's his name? His young, the boy.
Oh, but
He's sort of familiar about food.
yeah, he says you gave it to other. I guess he means himself. You fed him, you know, and he said the Lord's going to bless you on way up over, you know, on top. He's going to bless you. He said it's good when you show food to other people, give it to them. That's the training we got.
I know that. That I know from Garland.
You know, it used to be when you went to someone's house, even at mid-noon, midday, mid-noon, I mean, I guess, 3 o'clock, they'd go in there and set the table to feed you. We don't do that anymore. We hide our food.
I didn't hide any food,
No,
Maud. I brought it
but-
all out and I put it on the table and said, Maud, let's eat.
Yeah, that's what. I'd go down to visit Aunt Lizzie when she was up and around. I used to like that old lady. I used to visit with her, just
Children?
talk to her. I'd go and walk down there to visit with her, and here she'd go in there. And, we'd be in the front room. She'd disappear. Nora and I would be sitting here. She'd be setting the table.
Gonna feed her.
She's going to feed
Young
me.
people.
I'd tell her, you don't have to.
She was,
She was an old timer.
I remember her. She was still living when
Yeah.
I first came into the tribe. I remember with her, she had something around her head and she had a cane. Oh, this must be about ready.
Ah,
You're not ready yet?
I just said that you'll feel good.
Okay. I
when
thought you told me
these
so.
things that you do, you know. You feel sorry for people. He's talking to Garland.
Mhm.
He does things for
The
people.
older man to the younger man.
Yeah, and he's telling him that he'll be blessed for that, being like he is. He said it's hard for me because I can't see. I can't do the things I want to. I'll be sitting there and wishing I could do these things for, you know, what I got in my mind.
Do for other people.
Yeah,
But he can't do it.
he can't do it because he can't see. But he said, he said it's real hard for him, you know, that he can't do what he wants to. He said, but Garland can do it, things that he's doing, you know, and doing things for other people and having glad. He said, I feel good today. He said, I'm feeling good because you brought me. You brought me here. You're feeding me. You're taking care of me. And we're telling stories. We're making ourselves feel good by telling stories.
That's nice.
He said, I appreciate it. I want to thank you.
That was nice, wasn't it, for him to say that?
He said, since you got the Lord, he talked quite a bit about the Lord, Garland. He says, since you got the Lord and you're doing all these good things, you're going to be blessed by it. And going the way you are, I think you're going to get a big, wonderful blessing. Gosh, if it had happened, if he had not.
Charles, 2 years later, he was very ill. Well, actually, he was probably ill earlier than we knew because that cancer doesn't show itself for a while.
It finishes its work and then it shows itself. Then that's too late to do anything. He says these things sometimes, he said it in the other, I forgot to say sharp things to you. Don't pay attention to it.
That's what Aunt Viola told him.
Don't pay attention to it. Said, just let it drop. He said that's the way of the evil one. Wants to trip you up and make you say something, make you do something that's against good. He said, so don't. He said he'll keep after you until you say something that's not nice, and then you'll be sorry.
That's
He said, don't do that now. Just keep.
Garland never did that.
Like you said, good advice to anybody. That other person wants you to go his way, not very good way, but don't pay attention.
That's the criticism that people get.
Yeah, you wanna fight back, but he says don't listen to it. Gosh, it's hard sometimes when you hear.
Garland got a lot of criticism. We'd hear it indirectly. The fact that he married me got a lot of criticism for that. Married a white woman. What in the world? Okay.
I've got. I guess he means his boys. He said none of them comes and says, "Come go home with me." Do that. He said, but you did.
That's sad, isn't it? That he had to say that.
Yeah, he's see, he had Clifford up here at Edmond.
And Franklin couldn't stay with Franklin, though, could he?
Franklin used to have a home.
I wonder where Franklin is now. I haven't heard from him for a long time.
He passed away.
He did? Franklin did?
What that's it?
He's talking about Ella. He said at his home people don't come over there because they know her mom and how mean she is. So she's got hateful ways. Even his own people don't come over. They're afraid of her. He said they're scared of her because she's got a bad mom. She was awful mean.
I heard that before I even knew him, that she was mean.
Oh, that's sure is funny.
Why was she so mean? Was she mean as a little girl? Or she
I guess she was.
Who was she?
Is it-
Oh. Well, you can shorten that because we don't, if it's bad stuff.
Well, he said the phone rang.
Oh, I heard something
And
about
she
receiver.
answered it. He said, I heard her say, he can't go.
What was it they wanted?
And that this man wanted Phillip to go with him to the opening.
Oh, yeah.
And Ella said, he can't go. He said, I heard her. He said, she's at the point where she wants to boss me.
Mm.
See? She's got him where he can't see, and she take all his money away from him. So he said, this man came to the house, and he told Phillip, I called and I wanted you to go to the meeting with me, but your wife said you couldn't go. He said, I thought maybe something was wrong, so he came over. And she didn't even tell me.
Oh, my.
He said, I just heard her say you can't go. He said, so next time you come after me, don't call or nothing. You come over here in the morning and tell me. I'll be back maybe 3 o'clock or so.
Oh,
and
I'll be ready.
Yeah, I'll be all ready, waiting for you.
Well, he needed to get out and do things like that.
Yeah, he.
Can't sit there forever.
Oh,
Poor
Ella was
man.
mean to me. But you know what? He
What?
was mean. He was mean when he was young.
Maybe
When he could see.
maybe she was getting back at him.
I
don't know either.
That's an unhappy home. Oh,
Something about Grandma.
he said, my grandma told me, let her go, divorce her. Divorce her. He said, I should have listened to her.
Ah.
His grandma, Garland's grandma, her name was Holcott. He said she used to ask me, are you two getting along good? And I tell her, sometimes to get along good. She said, yeah, Ella gonna go. Oh, I'm just talking into you.
He said
He said
Ella
that-
knows something.
Ella, her name was Stadico. He said she's mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's what,
Effie knew
that's
that.
what
Effie Blaine.
Yeah. She says she's a mean woman. Oh, she was.
When you say mean, do you mean mean in the things she said, or that she hit people? It was a mean mouth.
Mean mouth.
Yeah, because mean can mean
She was
that you
hateful.
can push and shove and hit.
No,
It's not that kind of a
not
mean.
that. I guess with her kids,
Another one that talked to him.
Lula Young said Ella was mean. They all knew her, all these people.
How come he married her? Everybody knew she was so mean.
I guess she was nice when she wanted to be married, but
Uh-huh.
later on she got.
Her true colors.
Yeah. No, they used to live down on Forest Street.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you knew where she
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to live, where that
Uh-huh.
laundry is or something. He said, I used to go visit with your grandma. Said she used to be way in the back. John Mack and the owner kept her. That's what her name is.
What does that mean?
Seemed like it means they let her in. And
Ah,
it just suited her, she was blind.
yeah.
Just the widow when they
Just-
take them in. He says, I like it the way he was talking to him. He said, I like that. He said, I always listen. He said, I like it when a man comes up to me and he tells me these things.
This is Garland talking.
Yeah, I want you, I always listen to them. Because I know he's trying to set me in the right way to go.
Oh, that's a nice thing.
So that's what he said. He said, he listens to whoever's talking to him. He don't just walk away like some people. If you try to give them advice, some of them don't. Like Ella was, she was very.
Well, then,
Yeah, he says, I like to listen to these fellas talk to me. He said, because I know they want to give me that advice and they're feeling good. They want me to feel good. See how long he talked?
yes.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's good.
It's a beautiful language. I wish I knew it.
I wish everybody knew it. All my folks is losing it.
That's why.
And then well, it's
Wait a minute.
What's gonna watch?
This is the end of his visit. I noticed here on the tape they were saying goodbye in a way because they were both. Well, what did he say that last time before he said he was going to watch?
Yeah, he just said that's what I always want to hear. You know, I want them to. Whenever they talk to me, they like lifting your spirits up. You know, making you feel good when they talk to you. And it's
Like
that
that,
way. It's
yes.
that way when a person comes up to you and they say good things about you instead of being, hateful and like that.
Criticism.
It's good to hear somebody say, well, I like for you to be here, or, something, just tell you that
Right,
they're
we
glad
all
to
like it.
see you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what he meant. It's good to have that kind of feeling. You have a good feeling, good, and if you got that good feeling, it sticks all over, and people around will have a good feeling.
Maybe you've always been like that, and that's why they liked you when you were in school.
Yeah. I don't know, even when I was out, Ella, they really liked me. I don't know why. I guess because I
Good.
talked to them.
Maybe you talk like that.
Maybe I talk like them, me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Well,
I liked them. I liked all of them.
Oh,
He said, must have had
Now he
it.
has.
He said, you got some.
Pick your cup, what's the open?
yeah.
He wants to go to.
Yeah, you can just put this right here.
I don't want to
Well, that's that.
He gave $10 to him. He said, they're
I
all
hope that-
ones.
Ella didn't get it.
Oh, we did. They're all ones, he said.
Well, that's the best way to give it to him. Then he can hide the rest of them.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
No, this is about Harry Madbear. He used to know the bills. How do you know that?
If you're blind? Well, maybe he called on the phone and said what was the bill. You know, maybe call up the
You
company.
just feel him and go.
Oh, you're talking about, I was talking about bills from the store,
No, I'm talking about money.
Oh, I don't know. How could he do that? I don't either.
He used to wait for his change.
Oops, let's see what else is here.